set. He's going to start with the markets today. They're not having a great start to the week, are they?
No, like many of us perhaps early on a
that's
Monday.
True.
Investors being very cautious today for a number of reasons across the Asian markets, partly because we saw big falls on Wall Street last week. That's having a knock-on effect in trading today, but also those fears over the tensions in Ukraine still seeing investors hold back on their spending. The Nikkei slightly dipped into negative territory. It lost 7% over the week last week, so not a great start to the week there either. Sharp, one of the biggest fallers there in Japan, their shares were down around 8% earlier as the company said it was seeking new ways of raising capital. In general, though, things not looking too great across the Asian markets this morning.
OK, well, the International Monetary Fund, their spring meeting, it wrapped up over the weekend with some interesting comments, really, from Mario Draghi, among others.
Yeah, the president of the ECB said that they may undertake further stimulus measures to try to improve things if inflation doesn't pick up in the euro area. He said the bank's board was in favour of extraordinary action to address the low level of price increases seen across the Eurozone. That could include further interest rate cuts or even bond buying, a similar measure that's being taken by the Federal Reserve in the United States. Now, that sort of direct intervention would be a change and a risky strategy, really, for the European Central Bank, signifying a different approach by them. But that risk of deflation or falling prices in the Eurozone was one of the concerns raised by the International Monetary Fund at its spring meetings. In her closing remarks, the IMF chief, Christine Lagarde, said the global recovery remained fragile.
We're moving into a strengthening phase. As I said, the recovery is turning. We're turning the corner. The global economy is faring better. It's uneven, it's too slow, it's too fragile, which is why, clearly, in addition to the pursuit of appropriately paced fiscal consolidation, appropriately articulated monetary policy, and it varies from one country or one region to the other.
Let's move on with a look now at some of the day's other business stories. In the Middle Eastern airline Etihad is said to be close to a deal to buy the struggling Italian carrier Alitalia. Italian media reporting that the deal to buy a 49% stake in the airline could be announced as early as today. The Italian carrier was kept afloat by a €500 million rescue package last year, but its massive debt and the prospect of huge job cuts had been obstacles to the talks with Etihad. And Glencore Xstrata is selling its stake in a Peruvian copper mine to a Chinese consortium for almost $6 billion. Chinese authorities had sought the sale of the company's share in the Las Bambas mine after Glencore bought Xstrata last year. It's the largest Chinese acquisition of a mine to date.
Washington next, a host of new companies trying to encroach on Silicon Valley's territory.
Yeah, the US capital isn't known for its technology firms, but it is a movement that we're seeing more and more of as the city's making to cash in on the resources of the federal government by attracting new startups there. The fledgling companies say it's not just helpful to have ready-made customers on hand on Capitol Hill, but it's also a good place to recruit talent, as William Edwards now reports.
1776 says it wants to start a tech revolution. Named after the year the US declared independence, this incubator for technology startups says Washington is ready for a shake-up.
We still access education and healthcare and transportation, energy in the same way we did decades ago. And so DC is poised to be a hub of entrepreneurship because those industries are really ripe for disruption.
Just a year after opening, around 200 companies are based here, attracted both by tax incentives and private funding. New ventures get to interact with other startups and have access to visiting technology and business experts. Among the companies here is Ride Scout. Their app allows users to look up all kinds of travel options. For them, the proximity of government agencies here makes a difference.
We've talked to the Department of Transportation. This is something we think, federal entities would find very useful, both at their workforce level and from a policy perspective.
It's not just access to government that's useful, though. It's also access to the talent that government attracts.
The federal government is always recruiting some of the top computer scientists, and we're able to attract that talent to work at our company.
A 2013 survey by Fast Company magazine found DC had a higher number of startups per capita than any US state. While it may not be about to out-innovate Silicon Valley, it looks like Washington will soon be known for more than just politics.
Yeah, Will Edwards reporting from Washington. Now, finally, staying with technology, a potential new departure for Facebook. I can't quite believe this one.
Yeah, the social network is said to be close to getting permission from Irish regulators to provide financial services.
Yeah.
Now, the FT says the approval from the Irish Central Bank would allow Facebook to have a licence for e-money, so they would be able to store money and also allow for exchanges between users of money on Facebook. The move, if it's approved, would be a key change of direction for Facebook, which makes most of its money at the moment from advertising. Anyway, this would be a move into remittance services, those sort of payments across borders, usually from migrants. The company's already said to have approached several firms in London who specialise in money transferring to develop strategic partnerships. So it could be a really interesting move for Facebook.
Different, anyway. Does that mean you could like your bank balance?
Bank of Facebook.
Yeah, presumably a lot of us unliking our bank balance rather than liking
yeah.
it. Yeah. Stephen Carroll with Business. He'll have more, of course, in an hour. Nick's here with the newspapers today. Ukraine is dominating, isn't it, Nick? Good to have you with us.
Hi to you, Stuart. And let's go straight away to Le Figaro, which